All right, good evening. I'd like to go ahead and call to order the Town of Rocky Hill Open Space and Conservation Commission regular meeting for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you. Okay, anything from public? Hearing none. Okay, application for permit, Town of Rocky Hill, care of Raymond Carpentino, Town Manager, proposal to construct 841 linear feet of sidewalk, replace pond outlet structure, replacement of a 30-inch culvert, and associated outfall maintenance located on the east side of Hayes Road, 775 feet south of Westerly Terrace in Hayes Pond, AKA parcel ID number 08-184. Okay.
I have to recuse myself.
Correct, yes. Commissioner Stevens does have to recuse himself, considering he did flag the wetlands. And considering we are short members of the Democratic Party, Commissioner Derrick will go ahead and be voting for them, but only one vote. Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so for the record, Steve Soplak, Town of Rocky Hill Engineering Department, and we were here last month to introduce this project. This is two-prong. We have, the image you see in front of you is Hayes Road, and we have gap from in front of 300 and number 4 and number 11, Hayes Road, for sidewalk. And then also, if you could see my cursor, under those trees there's an outlet structure for this pond that's been there since the 70s and is deteriorating and needs repair. So our application is to construct sidewalk within the upland review area and to perform maintenance and replace the outlet structure on the pond. One thing I didn't mention last time is there once was a permit for this, and also to construct docks and put an aerator in that pond. That was back in the 2000s, early 2000s, which never happened. So that kind of went away after 5 years. But this was looked at once before for this, and it was approved. This time we're not putting docks, we're not putting aerators. We're just trying to control the water level and keep it at, not drain it down, because it does leak and it drains down in the summer. I addressed some of the comments that were made. Let's see. There's a question regarding the National Diversity Database, and we have nothing. The only items showing up in Rocky Hill are in the southwest, in this area are down along the town line with Newington on the Little Brook. So nothing in this area for National Diversity Database. The bats, northern long-eared bats, Rocky Hill is not one of the towns, summer or winter. So that answers that question. And then there was concern about Army Corps, and from our research, we don't feel we need one because we're not going to be actually in the pond. We're going to be up against it, but we do have the form, the self-verification form, which we can submit.
Okay. So basically, no changes from last month or anything?
No changes, just answering a couple questions that were asked.
Okay.
We did correct some errors in some of the elevations on the detail for the outlet structure that Commissioner Schweitzer
Yeah.
pointed out.
Okay, perfect,
So,
okay.
and just to refresh your memory, here's a sketch showing existing sidewalk, and then we'll put this proposed down the east side. It'll come down, as I said, in front of number, 300, 4, and 11. They're kind of wonky the way they're numbered. And you can see here that's, outside of any wetlands. It's about 30 feet away in the upland review. And then the pond itself, that's on another sketch here. But that would, that sidewalk could connect to Westerly Terrace, and then the pond itself Actually, you can see in this picture, this is a good picture right here, this, where my cursor is, here's your pond, and we're about 5 feet away with that outlet structure. The water's not getting there now, so we're not in the pond. Same with the top left corner. You can't even see the water, and, you know, that's the outlet structure. So we're not in the pond doing this work. And here's your sketch. So we, you know, we'll be right up against it, but not in the pond. Hence why we don't think we need the Army Corps, but we can, you know, submit that.
Okay. Yeah, as long as we're not in the pound, I don't see a need for it.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
it there.
Love how that's catch basin's propped up by bricks.
Well, that's the way they used to make it. It was actually block and brick they would use to get the elevation. You know, sometimes you put patio block.
Okay, anything else? Nothing? Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, you know, I kind of ran through it. We were proposing the sidewalk. That's a priority of the town council. And then the outlet structure. It, actually, while we were there, we also spoke about, we found that there's some drainage within the road, and there's an outfall a couple 100 feet south of the intersection on Westerly, and we can't find it. It's kind of buried, so we have to expose that and rip-wrap that. That, again, is going to be up to the edge of the pond. And then there's a 30-inch RC metal pipe, corrugated metal pipe, and it's the whole bottom half is gone, literally gone. So we have to replace some of that and another rip-wrap pad.
Okay, okay. Questions, Commissioner Brown?
Could you do me a favor and scroll back to the picture, the actual photographs
Yep.
of the outlet? I just want to look at that
This
while I
one?
ask you the question, because
Sure.
you started this. You said there was a previous permit to aerate. What's living in the pond? Anything?
I don't know. That was, you know, 20-plus years ago, and they were going to put a, you know, basically for better word, lack of words, a fountain in there.
Oh, all right, so not really aerating to promote
Aerate
life,
it,
but
yeah,
the
I don't know.
fountain?
You know, I don't have, I was here then, as right when I came on, so I'm not exactly sure what the history is.
Yeah, yeah.
But
you
there was a
just-
permit, and it just never happened.
Yeah, you just made me wonder.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of wild, there's a geese problem,
Yeah.
and then you also have the cows that utilize that pond. So what's in there is, you know, probably fecal matter. They also had, weren't they gonna dredge it, Dave? I think
Yeah,
just,
they were gonna dredge it.
That
They were
would've been
gonna
an Army
dredge it
Corps.
And, drill a well that was gonna feed it to to add supplemental water to it, and then aeration system, and then like a boardwalk type dock along the northern shoreline for fishing.
we do have a request for a fishing platform from a resident, but you know, we're not going there with this right now.
We've got the Connecticut River.
We do. So I don't even know if there's fish in there, to tell you the
Okay.
truth.
Just quick question, on the photograph on the lower left,
Lower left, yep.
where's the perspective? Is that inside the basin?
That's inside the catch
inside.
basin, yeah.
Okay.
And you can see
The
the,
pipe on the right-hand side is the outlet pipe that goes north.
Okay,
so, and you can see the disrepair it's in, it's just collapsing.
yeah. All right, thanks. Nope, no questions, just curiosity.
Okay. Vice Chair Cruz?
Can you go over one thing
Sure.
that you just mentioned, about the, you discovered you have to replace some, you talked too fast for me.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm a
right
fast
there.
talker, Seinfeld moment
No,
here.
it's okay, and it's just,
So-
so you talked about you discovered you also have to go farther down?
So, what we found is the road drainage, catch basins in the road, they discharge into the pond in 3 locations. There's one, as you can see my cursor here, this is the southernmost point where that's at 4 Hayes Road, it discharges, and then there was a swale here. It joined a swale and it came into the pond. That was one. That was no problem to find. We will bury that swale so we can build the sidewalk. We're gonna pipe it, and then we'll create a riprap pad here. The second location, in between the intersection and number 4 there, there's another set of catch basins. Pipe comes across. We believe it's 15-inch. And then when we went down and tried to locate it, it was just full of debris, brush,
Okay,
leaves. So we kind of poked around, didn't quite find the outlet, so we probably need a machine to get in there and clear it. So that's the second location. The third location, we were surveying and getting the water line and picking up the wetland flags. And when we do that, we like to pick up anything else that might be there, such as this outfall for this. It's a 30-inch corrugated metal pipe, which are usually good for about 50 years. So we're at, 1970s? So we're close to that. And I went out to the end to take a shot, and I discovered, it was kind of bouncy. I looked, and the whole bottom was gone. It's just rotted out. So you have the top half of the pipe, and underneath it just rotted, nothing there. So that needs to be addressed.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Derek?
Quick follow-up question from last time on, what is this? There's a point where you're clearing a 15-foot wide access way. I guess that's not on Westerly Terrace. Is that on Hayes Road? And last time you had mentioned, you expect to remove some of the trees that are dead there
Yeah.
anyway.
Again, that's for that 30-inch corrugated metal. We have to get in there.
Right.
So we're going to have to clear a swatch over the pipe. So we don't need an easement there. The town owns that.
Right.
But when we were walking through there, and I think Commissioner Stevens probably saw it when he was flagging the wetlands, there's a whole lot of dead or dying trees. Widowmakers, as we say, they're dead, fallen, and hung up on another. So it's kind of dangerous. So if while they're in there, they can address that, that would be great.
And so the intention is to clear it and then leave that ground bare, like bare soil, or plant grass?
Usually,
or?
well, out there, we wouldn't probably do grass. We just let it go back to nature.
I would recommend, no need to do a change in the plans or anything, but like, if you're already planting seed, native wildflowers would be
Yeah,
useful there.
yeah. It's just eventually we'll have to get in there to clean it. So it's ideal to keep your easements clear. If you probably noticed over the last couple of years, MDC's been going. It looks like they're building freeways through the woods, and people are, a little freaked out about that. But it's their easements they need to maintain so they can get in and inspect their infrastructure. So it's a good idea to keep and maintain and clean, so you don't have to go in and go through this process and say, hey, and then everybody's like,
I mean, you'd have to mow the grass or the wildflowers.
yeah.
to get in,
So if we just kind of let it, wildflowers can hopefully grow, grow.
Yep. And then one other comment from Commissioner Kaplan. She just suggested to submit self-verification.
Yep, that's what I was saying earlier. We have that form.
Okay, great.
So we can submit.
Thank you. That's everything.
Okay, all right. I don't have any questions. All my questions have been answered. Thank you for undertaking this. Finally, I know it's been a daunting, and I know that,
Been going on for 20 years, apparently.
yeah, and I know certain hazes are very happy to see it done, so.
Yeah,
so no,
well, it's going to keep the water level where it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I have no questions. Anything from staff? Nothing? No. Okay, all right. Can I get motion, please?
Yep. I make a motion to approve permit Town of Rocky Hill, care of Raymond Carpentino, Town Manager, proposal to construct 841 linear feet of sidewalk, replace pond outlet structure, replacement of 30-inch culvert and associated outfall, maintenance located at east side of Hayes Road, 775 feet south of Westerly Terrace and Hayes Pond, AKA parcel ID number 08-184.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Leslie, say it.
She's,
Okay.
Leslie's in favor. Okay, opposed, hearing none. Passes. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, and Commissioner Stevens is back. You're still voting.
Voting number.
Yeah, you're still voting. Action taken, minutes presented for approval for the June 11, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting, June 11th, 2025 meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? None? Okay. Discussion, Plan of Conservation and Development, Plan Implementation Committee.
Nothing to report.
Nothing? Okay. Any idea as to, again, when?
I'll have
That's
to get
Kim.
I'll have to see what I know there's a schedule approved. The Plan of Conservation and Development, the updated one was just approved, last month.
By council?
So I imagine there'll be some type of kickoff meeting probably after vacation seasons for everybody.
Right,
Probably,
okay.
my guess would be early fall.
Okay.
Through the chair, council did approve the plan of conservation?
Well, it was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay. So it still has to go in front of council yet?
I'm not sure. I think it's just approval by the commission, but,
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. Great.
and then at the last meeting, Derek had volunteered to serve on the PIC committee.
Yes.
I'll let Kim, I'll put it in
Yeah.
writing to Kim.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
I think I told her, but I'll put it in writing.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, status report, various projects?
The Washington Road sidewalk project's been awarded. Century Hills Phase 1 sidewalks are currently out to bid.
No,
Or-
bid opening.
Oh.
Take that. The Century Hills Phase 1 was bid, and we had a bid opening last week. We're doing our follow-up, checking references and all that. We had, I want to say 7 bids, which is far more than I thought, and the prices came in much lower than we estimated, so that's great. So that's, it should go to the town council hopefully later this month. If not, it'll be the first one in August.
Great.
And then a request for proposals for engineering services for the Beach Road culvert replacement is going out on, over the weekend, so Monday, that'll be opened up. And that's all I have right now.
Which project is that? Which road?
Beach Road, there's a culvert there, was it twin culverts, right? And that, the road overflows, and when it overflows, there's about 10 residents on the inside. That's the only way in and out, and they get stuck on the inside.
Okay,
It's gonna be a fairly significant project.
right. What about Belden? Did we ever do anything with Belden?
No, it's been put on the back burner.
Okay. Okay, open space?
Nothing to report.
Okay, legislation?
I'm not sure if I mentioned if it happened before last meeting, but the House Bill 5002 had been vetoed by the governor. It's going to be revisited in a special session or a fall session.
Okay,
So we'll see what comes out of that.
okay. Conferences?
Nothing to report.
Okay, correspondence, communications?
We got a notice from the Army Corps, notice for the hydrilla invasive plant control on the Connecticut River. They were going to be demonstrating some treatments. Then we have a survey is going to be coming out on the town website from CROG, and this is regarding the feasibility of creating a regional stormwater utility. And they're looking for to gauge public interest and level of understanding and concerns about the stormwater-related issues. This basically looking into establishing a authority to I'll let Steve explain it better, because he's on the advisory committee for CROG.
So, I might have mentioned this last meeting, I'm not sure, but we're one of the towns who's participating. So CROG put out a feeler to all 40 or 39 towns, and we have 6 who responded that they're interested, and about 3 or 4 more who are, what are they calling them? Kind of like observing the process. So they're looking at the feasibility of a stormwater utility. With that, with the utility, all the detail has to work out, but in general, some other communities that have done this, there's 2 in Connecticut right now, New Britain and I want to say it's Norwalk, somewhere, one of those ends. have them. It's prevalent in other parts of the country. And what they do is you get assessed for the amount of, in general, runoff that you're going to generate. Because especially, say, in Hartford right now, there's still a lot of combined sanitary and storm systems. So you're treating in essentially clean water because it's going in with the sanitary. So a lot of times they'll earmark that money from that assessment to projects to separate. Here we don't have that, but we could earmark it towards other things like drainage studies, drainage improvements, that kind of thing. It wouldn't come out of the general fund; it would come out of this separate assessment. We're not going to call it a tax. New Britain is doing this right now, as I said, and so far so good. So this group, CROG is facilitating this, and they have a consultant called Raftellus. I think they're out of actually North Carolina, but they've done this in other communities around the country, and it's kind of a fast track thing. So they're asking for this survey to be completed by August 1st. So it's 20 days away. So we're hoping it gets on our town website, and they ask us to put it on our multimedia, internet, Facebook and those kind of places. So hopefully it gets out there. Hopefully people respond so we can have some data. It's us, Weathersfield, Newington, Hartford, West Hartford, New Britain, Glastonbury, I think, Bloomfield, and East Hartford. I think those are the towns I can remember being there. So that's what we're looking at. So it's, it may or may not happen. I can't say for sure. One of the pluses of this system versus, say, just tax, your tax base is you get the nonprofits. Nobody's exempt. So, if you're, the state and you have a big building, a lot of roof and a lot of parking lot runoff, well, you're going to get assessed for that, and you'll help defray the cost of that maintenance to the drainage systems. So, I'll have more details as they go further. We've just had the initial meeting, but it's interesting concept. So
It is. Interesting that no one's exempt either.
by and large, right? Because you have a lot of nonprofits they don't pay.
Right.
The state, we get pilot from them, and now all of a sudden, hey, they have all this property here. I guess New Britain went through this with Central.
Right.
And, they had to ante up.
Right. Yeah, keep us updated on this, yeah. Okay, other business?
I have just one item. The site at 1344, 1360, and L005 Silas Dean Highway, that's the building behind Wendy's.
Yep.
That we had approved an application about a year ago or so. They're submitting a revised application to planning and zoning. Previously, it was gonna be mixed use with some office use and then residential.
Right.
And now they're coming back to go just all residential. There's no changes to any of the activities in the upland review area, so they don't need to come back before.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. Okay, anything else? Go ahead.
In our last meeting, you provided an update with regards to the meadows and activities going on there. Have there been any developments?
No, not, I've spoken to their consultant. The consultant has had a meeting with Deep, and they're preparing some concept plans to come in and meet with staff about, and then, the dialogue is possibly starting up again. I'm waiting for something firm to happen, so.
Is that about the meadows or was that about the dump?
Yeah, no additional fill has been brought in.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you.
What's going on down at the pits? Are we just closing that down to,
Well, we're closing public access to the pits, and we have brush drop-off and a grass drop-off at the transfer station. Just the nature of people going in and out of there, plus we're getting ready. We have a consultant that's about probably halfway, a little more than halfway through design plans for the culverts from Lower Dividend Pond under the road to the outfall, so that we can market the remainder of the town property down there past the solar farm for industrial use. So we're trying to slowly work our way out of there.
Okay.
We did remove a bunch of pavement we had down there and concrete and old concrete structures from all our road work we've done. We got that crushed and removed. We're trying to keep the public out of there, and we're trying to consolidate the brush that's there now. We have to grind it up and.
Right. The pits bring back memories. So, okay, all right. Anything else from anybody? Go ahead, Todd.
One real quick one to staff. David, this public notice about the aquatic invasive species, do you know if they're using what they're testing or using, or I don't want to get in there because I know.
I can give you the document.
Well, I have it.
Okay.
But it does.
I know a lot of people are expressing concerns over what they're using.
Right, because
From what I've heard or read, that some of what they're using is prohibited in Europe. So I'm not a chemist.
a lot of things are prohibited. Well, because I'm
In California.
remember what I do for a living. Diquat dibromide, it attacks chlorophyll, the photosynthesis cells. So other than not wanting to drink it in 2 or 3 days, it's dissipated. But because there's some Twitter guy who has a following is saying, "Oh, this is dangerous." And it's like, he's not a scientist or anything,
Right.
but people, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You see it on the internet, you believe it.
Yeah,
So-
I go by what I get sent here, and,
Yeah.
and basically what the Army Corps has said is they're following Connecticut DEP's laws and regulations as well as national.
Yeah, I've tried to kayak through.
TA, yeah.
I've tried to kayak through that, and it's like kayaking through a shag carpet.
Yeah, actually, the locations that they're testing there's one upstream of us, I believe, but the rest are all closer to
Yeah.
the shore.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they were talking about Weathersfield Cove, not as part of this study, but clearing out.
That's where they did some dye tests. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did a dye test last year to see how, the movements of the water, so they know how to apply
Right.
this, so.
Yeah, it looks like they're only going to be up at up on Portland, Middletown, in the Portland Boat Works. So, and one of them is actually Petchamicha Pond in Middletown, and then the Madabasset. So, yeah, it's all upriver from us, so, or downriver. So, cool. Keeney Cove, that's the only one up
Yeah, that
upriver
was
from us.
last year.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Nope. Motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.